Hello class, welcome to lesson 12. This week we're talking about family relationships, and this is a really weighty topic to search into. So this lesson will mostly be about self-reflection and setting goals to improve our family relationships in different ways. So hopefully it's an insightful lesson for all of us. I just wanted to go over a few things. So here we are in the lesson material and quiz instructions. And you're asked to look over some different articles, the proclamation, an excerpt, watch a video, and it does ask you to take notes during this video. You can watch it once to kind of get a feel for it and then take some notes looking for answers to these questions. You watch another video, some more videos, and look for answers to these questions. And then, in steps 9 and 10, it wants you to focus on what a chiasmus is and to work through a worksheet that helps you study Ephesians 4 through 6. And this can be a very insightful lesson, especially if you take this worksheet as an opportunity to reflect on your life and your current interactions with your family. So I wanted to go over this because it has been confusing for students in the past. Let's talk first about what a chiasmus is. If you follow this link, let's just pull it up again. I think I pulled it up twice. It brings you to this description of what a chiasmus is. So this is a literary structure, kind of like a type of poem that is used in scripture a lot, and it's kind of neat to start picking out. And it's basically where you repeat things frontwards and then backwards. So here in this description, it uses the example of the old nursery rhyme, "Old King Cole was a merry old soul, and a merry old soul was he." So this is a chiasmus. It first mentions Old King Cole, so this would be our A. This is A, B, and A are used to describe the pattern that's going on. So A is our first element, Old King Cole. And then merry old soul is our second element, so that's B. And then it repeats B, merry old soul, so we get B again. And then we've got he, which refers to Old King Cole, so we're returning to A. And that's a tricky thing about a chiasmus, is that it's repeating ideas in patterns, but it will often use different words for that same idea. So here it's got Old King Cole for A, but then it's got he for A. So it's using a different word, but referring to the same concept. And you'll see that a lot in chiasmuses. So that's what a chiasmus is, and the worksheet has you focus a little bit on chiasmuses. That's a fun word to try and say. But it's also just about reflection, so don't get too worried about nailing down what a chiasmus is, and just enjoy the worksheet, okay? So if we go back to the lesson material and click on this worksheet, which I would encourage you to do, then it pulls it up for you. And I would recommend downloading and printing it because I feel like the worksheet only works if you can sit down and just write out your thoughts and use it as a reflection exercise. Otherwise, it feels kind of hard to follow to me. So yes, I would recommend doing that. We are in the worksheet, and it just asks you different questions. So you'll want to have the worksheet pulled up, as well as the material it's asking you to study with the worksheet, these 3 references in Ephesians. Okay, so I've already got them pulled up here. So here is Ephesians 4, 26 through 32. So if we look at the worksheet, it asks the first question for Ephesians 4, 26. And notice that it's referencing the JST version. That can be confusing. But as you are going through it, just make sure that you've enabled footnotes. If you click hide footnotes, they don't show up. So make sure you've got show footnotes selected so that you can click on them. And then down here in 26, if you click on B, it shows you the Joseph Smith translation. That's what JST stands for. Which instead of saying, "Be ye angry and sin not," which is kind of confusing, it says, "Can ye be angry and not sin?" So that's a more interesting question. So the worksheet says, okay, the JST version is saying, can ye be, what was the word? Angry. So let's type that in as our answer. and not sin. Let the sun go down on your wrath. Okay, we filled out that question. Now 427, neither give you place to the, what does it say? Devil. So let's insert that. Now we know what our answer is. So here it's just trying to show connection between anger and the devil, because it's doing a little chiasmus here. It's doing A, B, and then C. I mean A again. So devil and anger are different words used to refer to the same concept, and it's showing that anger is like the devil inside of us, and that we're giving place to the devil when we are angry. So that's the connection that it is suggesting through this chiasmus. Does that make sense? So we're all done with those questions, and we move on to the next one, which focuses on communication, proper and effective means of communication. And here it starts asking questions. So it asks you to look at Ephesians 4:29 and answer, what is corrupt communication and what are we counseled to do with it? So if we go back to 4:29, it says, let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. So, what is corrupt communication is really up to our thought process, and that's what I mean by this worksheet is mainly good for just reflecting. So think about it. What does corrupt communication look like in your life? I think in mine, it's when I get too self-centered and am not looking out for others, and I kind of know what that looks like, and I would want to write about what that looks like and how I could look out for that. And then answer, what are we counseled to do with it? Well, we're counseled to not let it even come out of our mouth, to just not let it come out. So there's an example of answering that question. And then it's got another question, so you'd want to think about that and write out a response to that. And just use it as reflection. Just reflect on these different questions. And then in section C, we again do kind of fill in the blank like we did up here to draw connections. And then it's a mix of fill in the blank and reflect. And then it wants you to briefly summarize what you believe Paul is trying to teach the converts about anger, communication, being converted, and marriage and partnering relationships, parenting relationships. So yeah, use this as a tool to reflect. I hope that helps clarify what this last bit on a chiasmus is asking for. And let's see here. And yeah, that's it for the instructions. I know it's kind of a lot of material to study, so I would encourage you to get working on it early and just do little bit by little bit each night to make sure you can get through it all. Okay, yes, these are our Ephesians. So now let's look at the application activity. So it looks like in your gatherings this week, you are supposed to establish 2 SMART goals to assist you in improving your family relationships. Use the work you've already completed to finish this activity. So you may have already done most of this activity in your gathering. If your gathering didn't focus on this though, that's fine. Go ahead and do it on your own. But if you did do the work in your gathering, feel free to just copy that work into this template. So all we're doing this week is thinking about our relationships in life and selecting 2 relationships that we would like to improve. This can be current relationships or future relationships, such as if you are single and you want to prepare for a good relationship with your husband, your future husband that you haven't met yet, then that is something that you could also focus on. Or a future relationship with an unborn child, someone you haven't had yet, or being a grandparent. So just select 2 relationships you want to focus on and set a SMART goal for each. So with these SMART goals, remember to be super specific. Only try and change one thing and make sure that it is something within your control to change. So instead of saying, oh, I want this person to speak to me again, well, that's their choice. So instead say, I want to start reaching out to this person more. I'm going to do it in these certain ways. So make sure that it's focused on things you can do and that you're not overwhelming yourself. Just choose one thing to focus on with this relationship that you can change. All right. So let's pull up, I think I downloaded that. I guess I'll do it again. Let's pull up that application activity and glance through it. Oops, where is it? There it is. So it's going to walk you through the first relationship and then the second. So it asks what specific changes would you like to make, what do you hope will be the outcome, and really make sure you're answering all of these questions, please, so that you're taking a proper amount of time to think through it and to get your thoughts down on paper where you won't forget them. I like this. What challenges are you likely to encounter along the way, and how will you overcome them? So anticipate what's going to happen. And just think through each of these questions with the first relationship, and then down here with the second relationship. Okay. Let's see. As I'm looking through these questions, they're not asking explicitly for a SMART goal. It's mostly reflective questions to help you figure out different steps you can take to improve this relationship. But here at the end, when it says, which steps will you accomplish by the end of next week, this is where I would encourage you to write it in a SMART goal format. To say, this week I will, and write down the one specific thing that you're going to do this week to improve this relationship. And then you'll report on that progress in next week's learning report. Okay. I also want to note that you can be improving relationships that are already good. You don't have to have seriously damaged relationships in your life to benefit from this activity. There's always something we can do to improve our relationships, and maybe it's something we've been kind of wishing we could improve for a while, but just haven't thought was possible. But here's a chance to think through some steps we could do to take things up a step, to make things more comfortable or to progress more. So I hope you'll take advantage of this. And I think that's it. So go ahead and work on this. I hope that these are good chances to reflect on what could be changed. And I do want to share my testimony that we can change things in our relationships even when they look really hard. I've had some difficulties with my siblings who have left the church with feeling judged and excluded from their group at times. And it was starting to get really discouraging, but sometime last year I decided that I would make a change in those relationships, and I did something very similar to this application activity, where I chose something that I could do to start reaching out to them and to start seeing if we could build a bridge and become closer like we used to. And to my immense surprise, things have changed a lot in the past year. Not all at once, but through small consistent steps over the course of a year, and through pushing myself to take opportunities to improve things with each of these siblings. Things have changed, and I can't believe this change has happened in my life. It is beautiful. And so I just wanted to say that I do value this activity a lot, and I believe it can make all the difference in our lives, especially since family and relationships is what this gospel is all about. It's all about learning to love, learning to be one, learning to be Zion, learning to support each other. And I think that is the heart of that joyful feeling that we feel from the Spirit, is by building those relationships around us. These people are so incredibly valuable, and these relationships are so valuable that the sealing ordinance is the highest we can have here on this earth. So I just wanted to testify that, and I hope that this week is a wonderful experience for you. Please let me know if you have any questions.